I'm here at one of SERES' super factories. Home to over 3,000 robots and some of the most advanced automotive manufacturing in the world. But what brought us here today isn't just the technology. SERES is the only A-share listed automaker to hold an MSCI ESG AAA rating, the highest possible. Last year, they cut carbon intensity per vehicle by nearly 19%. SERES is proving that you can scale premium automotive manufacturing and lead on sustainability at the same time. That's a story worth telling. Clifford, it's been a great pleasure to be here today to visit the super factory and to enjoy a ride in the Ito M9 as well.
How did that feel?
Oh, it was great. I really enjoyed it. Very smooth, and I think the level of luxury that you've been talking about, intelligence and luxury, I can really sort of see that personified, very sort of tangible.
So you would consider maybe buy one?
So if we can talk about a financing scheme, then that would be great. Yeah, but no, very interesting, and also to be talking to you a lot about your strategy for the business, and particularly in China and overseas as well. So it's been very instructive. Yeah. So I'd like to ask you a few questions, and perhaps I'll sort of kick off with the first one.
Yeah, please.
Thinking about ESG as a strategic imperative. Many global automakers, I think, treat ESG as a sort of compliance exercise, but you seem to take a fundamentally different view. How do you personally define the role that ESG plays in SERES' ambition to become a leading global premium brand?
That's a very good question to start. I always believe that ESG is not about meeting the external expectation. It's about defining the future competitiveness of an enterprise. For SERES, ESG is embedded in our DNA and serves as a strategic compass guiding our global expansion and sustainable development. So it is not just about compliance. It is the driving force behind innovation, better products, stronger brands, and the business growth. If you look at the global premium market, sustainability is how people measure the corporate value. They are no longer nice to have. For luxury brands, it is a foundation for stronger brands and a long-term value creation. A strong ESG framework also helps SERES deal with the complexity of the global markets, keep us compliant, manages the risk better, and builds the trust across the markets.
Yeah, it's really interesting to hear this in a time when ESG seems to be on the back foot. It's really central to your strategy.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
You recently became the only A-share listed automaker to achieve an MSCI ESG AAA rating, the highest possible. What does that recognition mean for SERES when competing in international markets, and how did you earn it?
Firstly, I would like to thank everyone for their support. We are truly encouraged by this recognition, so the AAA rating. It also reflects how deeply ESG is integrated into the way SERES operates. At SERES, we have a set targets to peak carbon emission by 2030 and achieve the carbon neutrality in SERES operation by 2045, while moving our entire value chain close to net zero emissions. And we strongly believe that clear goals, strong governance, systems, and procedures, and the disciplined execution are essential to deliver meaningful outcomes. So we established a three-tier ESG governance structure and built a digital carbon management platform, which enables us to turn our sustainability goals into corporate action. Ultimately, what matters most is not the rating itself, but the fact that these ongoing efforts enable us to build greater trust with the partners and strengthen our long-term global competitiveness.
So if I could just sort of dig into that a little bit more, talk about the sort of business case for ESG investment. And we know that the Chinese EV market is brutally competitive on price, technology and scale. And critics might ask how SERES can justify the investment that you've been describing in ESG infrastructure when margins are under pressure across the industry. What's your answer? What's your response to that?
Despite fierce competition, SERES continues to invest in ESG because it's a long-term strategy. While ESG does bring some short-term costs, it delivers multiple long-term returns. First, it helps us improve efficiency and reduce costs. For example, solar power projects and energy-saving upgrades, we directly reduce electricity expenses. In 2025, our per vehicle carbon intensity dropped by nearly 19%, and the renewable electricity accounted for over 36% of our total usage. Second, it strengthens SERES brand value. With a verifiable ESG performance, it supports our premium positioning and helps us build a stronger, more differentiated edge in global competition and beyond just product specifications. Finally, it improves our corporate governance. ESG helps SERES continuously optimize its governance structure, strengthen top-level decision-making, reduce long-term strategic risk, and support a more stable, sustainable growth.
You set ambitious targets for peak carbon by 2030 and near zero emissions across your entire value chain by 2045. In 2025 alone, carbon emissions intensity per vehicle fell by nearly 19%, and you'll hit your 2030 renewable electricity target 5 years early. What is actually driving the pace of progress?
The key reason of our progress lies in a clear goal with strategic framework. Our goal is to peak carbon emission by 2030 and achieve carbon neutrality in our own operations by 2045, which gives the whole company a shared direction. But having targets alone is not enough. Execution is even more important. That's why we have built a digital carbon management platform, which helps us break down those targets and integrate them into every stage of the business, from R&D and product design to manufacturing and supply chain. And let me share how it works. On the product side, we pursue a dual technology strategy, advancing both extended range electric vehicles and battery electric vehicle in parallel. In fact, in many countries and regions, charging infrastructure is still not fully developed. Through this dual pathway powertrain approach, SERES effectively balances energy efficiency and carbon reduction with the user's range anxiety, which is accelerating the wider adoption of a new energies and mobility. As a result, in 2025, ITO vehicles achieved 9.9 billion kilometers of pure electric driving, accounting for 70% of the total mileage. This is equivalent to a reduction of about 2.33 million tons of carbon dioxide emissions. We also reduce emissions through lightweight and recyclable design. For example, the ITO M9 uses die casting technology to consolidate 222 components into just 10 integrated parts, making the vehicle lighter, safer, and lowering carbon emissions over its entire life cycle. Moving to our manufacturing operations, our super factory runs a large solar power system that has generates over 280 million kilowatt hours, avoiding about 150,000 tons of CO2 emissions. We also built a low-carbon smart logistics system using autonomous trucks and robotics for internal operations. Beyond our own facilities, we are working closely with 91 core suppliers to build a greener supply chain and having already collected more than 9,000 real-world carbon footprint data points for components. Last but not least, we focus on the circular economy and the structural innovation. We see a circular economy as an important source of new productive forces. We are actively exploring the full life cycle carbon reduction potential of materials. We work closely with partners on the 3R: recycle, remanufacture, and reuse. In 2025, we have cut over 80 tons of carbon emissions with our 99% of vehicle packaging recycling rate. There's still a lot for us to improve, and we are continuously exploring what's best. That's why we set up a dedicated task force in 2025 to further develop solutions under evolving regulations.
One innovation that stands out in your ESG approach is the factory within a factory model, embedding core suppliers directly into your production facilities. Can you explain the thinking behind that and what it means for both carbon traceability and supply chain resilience?
We were the first in the industry to introduce the factory within a factory model, which moves green collaboration from a management requirement to a structured system. As an ESG cannot be sustainable without supply chain participation. At SERES, factory within a factory model refer to integrating key supplier production lines directly within our facilities, enabling localized, synchronized manufacturing and just-in-time supply. This approach delivers zero inventory and zero logistic advantage. It reduces reliance on external transportation, shortens issue resolution cycles, and enhances responsiveness to market fluctuations. As a result, it significantly strengthens supply chain resilience in terms of stress, resistance, responsiveness, adaptability, and collaboration. At the same time, this model also helps to trace carbon footprints more efficiently. With a shorter traceability boundaries, direct data connectivity, and standardized accounting frameworks, it enables a clearer, more accurate carbon emissions accounting and verification.
SERES talks about an integrated vision of vehicles, energy, road, and cloud. How does the company's technology stack, from the SERES MF Platform 2.0 to your AI-driven automotive industry brain, directly connect with your sustainability goals?
Our technology system enables a fully integrated ESG smart management framework, supporting both manufacturing upgrade and low-carbon transformation in parallel. We use AI, artificial intelligence, to connect vehicle, energy, road, cloud, connecting a full chain decarbonization model from design to manufacturing and ecosystem collaboration. With AI and IoT technologies, we also achieve 100% real-time visibility and management of the energy consumption data, providing strong support for precise carbon reduction.
For Chinese automakers, going global has often meant navigating scrutiny around standards and compliance. SERES has aligned with GDPR and joined the Sustainable Markets Initiative. What does this signal to your international partners?
We are very clear that raising our compliance and benchmark standards is a proactive strategic choice, not a reactive response to overseas scrutiny. For us, this is the baseline for long-term global operations. As I mentioned, these are higher standards, reflect our alignment with globally accepted rules, and they also demonstrate to our partners and investors that we maintain transparent and well-governed operations. We also continuously track ESG and data security regulation across all key markets. For example, in Europe, we strictly comply with the GDPR requirements and embedded them into our operating system to ensure compliant global expansion. At the same time, we actively participate in international platforms. So this May, we just joined the China Council of a Sustainable Markets Initiative, SMI, working with global partners to explore a pathway for green transformation. Overall, our approach is localization for globalization, and we fully integrate it into local ecosystem while maintaining global standards.
SERES has a relationship with hundreds of first-tier suppliers, all of whom have signed integrity commitment letters, and you've partnered with 17 universities to drive industrial chain upgrades. What do you think about the social responsibility of being a value chain leader in China's NEV ecosystem?
As a chain-leading company in the new energy vehicle ecosystem, our responsibility goes beyond operating our own business well. It's also about helping the entire ecosystem grow in a sustainable way. We aim to play a coordinating, connecting, and a leading role in the global value chain, working with the partners to build a fair, open, and low-carbon automotive industry. As I mentioned, we require all our partners to sign integrity commitments. This idea is simple. We want to make sure that whole supply chain operates in a transparent and fair way with a clear standards from the beginning. At SERES, we link social responsibilities with the value chain. Today, 47.5% of our suppliers use a renewable energy, and we hope every company in the SERES ecosystem can grow with us. We also support supply chain development through talent. We work with 17 universities and provide training opportunities to all employees. In 2025, our employees all receive trainings with more than 400,000 trainings section completed. So beyond the industry side, we also extend our responsibility to society. Last year, we have invested nearly 30 million Chinese yuan in social good, and about 15% of our 20,000 employees took part in the volunteer activities, which is quite strong, even compared to some global peers.
Building deep expertise in after-sales and the customer relationship side of the business are areas where an automaker can build its own identity entirely independent of any technology partner. Where do you see the biggest opportunity to define what the SERES and Ito brands mean to customers on their own terms?
At SERES, our company tenet is serving customers wholeheartedly. We work with our technology partners to translate cutting-edge innovations into experiences that users can truly feel in their lives. Based on my decades of experience in service, I've learned that a brand real differentiation is not defined by technical specifications alone. What truly defines a brand is the real experience across its products, services, in the customer journey. I believe ESG should also be reflected in user value. Safe, reliable products and service with a human touch are the most durable competitive advantage for any brand. That's why we built the Ito Carefree Ownership service system. In 2025, we delivered over 250,000 proactive service reminders and saved customers around 360,000 hours in maintenance time. We also organize low carbon mobility activities for Ito owners, giving customers a direct way to experience what green mobility actually means in daily life. We also see a charging infrastructure as a key part of the premium ownership experience. We have made strategic investments in the charging network. Building on our investment in Yongqi in China, we have a partner with Mercedes-Benz, and BMW to jointly develop higher power charging services. And as an equal shareholder, each partner holds a 1/3 stake in the joint venture.
SERES has reached 1 million ITO users and posted record revenues. With that commercial momentum, what is the single most important ESG commitment you want SERES to be held accountable for over the next decade?
China's NEV industry has developed very fast. In just 5 years, the electric vehicle penetration has increased from around 5% to over 50%.
That's huge.
Yeah, and it's still rising. Today, around 60% of a global NEV sales come from China, so which represents China's the biggest contribution to global sustainability. In this context, SERES has become a premium new energy automaker with over 1 million users, which also means we have a bigger responsibility in emissions reduction. Based on this, we have turned our targets to carbon peaking by 2030, carbon neutrality in operations by 2045, and near zero emissions across the value chain into a clear roadmap. We have published ESG reports for 4 consecutive years, and our 2025 report discloses 136 key indicators and ensuring that our progress is measurable and traceable.
Yep.
As I mentioned earlier, ESG is fully integrated into our governance structure, ensuring effective execution from the top level down. In addition, we have actively presented our ESG strategy and targets on international platforms. In recent years, SERES has participated in COP29, COP30, where I personally share our experience in driving green transformation in mobility. This year, we were also invited to 2026 United Nations Biodiversity Conference, which reflects the growing international recognition of our efforts, not only in China, but also on the global stage. Finally, for us, aligning with global climate frameworks is not only about expanding globally, but also about contributing to a more consistent and credible green narrative for Chinese automakers worldwide.
Well, Clifford, thank you for sharing these insights with me. It's been a fascinating experience, and I wish you and SERES every success for the future.
And thanks for having me.